And what is the deal with Iraq turning into another Vietnam? Cue the helicopter evacuation. And when the president says he's working day and night on this and not ruling out anything, how do we respond to this? What's become of us? LJ tweets, not ruling out anything is going to result in the same sort of action Obama took in Syria. By that, I mean, of course, nothing. Ron says we need to bomb the insurgents before they get to Baghdad. Once they're there, it's guerrilla warfare. Might be impossible to stop them. Good point. Easy writes, this is like everything else President Obama's done. Wait until he has to make a decision, then lead from behind. Kelsey says Iraq is a crying shame. Middle East is in shambles. The president continues to ignore every single crisis facing the nation. Davis writes, President Obama is handling Iraq just like the pipeline, indecisively. Conservative says Neal Cavuto is speaking the truth. Gas prices are going to skyrocket here. Byrne writes, Neal, our gas went up 24 cents overnight. Powell writes, we should drill here, drill now. And given the White House's handling of this, time for Mitt Romney to make another go for the White House now? I talked to the former presidential candidate yesterday, and I've been flooded with emails ever since. Ann in Oklahoma, thanks for having Mitt Romney on your show. I love that man almost as much as you. Martha in Grand Island, Nebraska. Just wanted to let you know I enjoyed your interview with Mitt Romney. He would have made an excellent president. Joe in Atlanta. Neal, here's a clue. If you give segments to losers like Mitt Romney, John McCain, or rhinos like Lindsey Graham, I'm going to turn you off every time. I have heard enough from these losers to last me a lifetime. Comprende, amigo? Hasta loco, mi amigo. Adios mio. Anyway, Diane via iCloud.com. I just want to cry when I hear Mitt say he will not run again. This country needs him. And if it weren't so stupid, he'd be president right now. Well, I will say this much, Diane. Everything Mitt Romney predicted when he was running has indeed come to pass. They laughed at him for saying that Vladimir Putin was our greatest threat. He is. And the Mideast would boil over again. It has. And that's just two of his more prescient warnings. The other big one, the treatment of our veterans. Way back then, it was Romney pushing vouchers for veterans who couldn't get care right away. Cliff emails, I could see why Romney wouldn't want to take over the VA now. It's a mess and he'd have no power to change it. Pity. Mary writes, I don't believe those rumors Romney was being considered to run the VA. Why would the administration even consider him? Oh, I don't know, Mary, maybe to blame him? Then I've got an unusual amount of email on this high school graduation picture of mine, particularly my linking the time it was taken to what was a big environmental push back then. Not global warming, global freezing. It's true. From the New York Times to Newsweek and Time Magazine, lots of dire warnings at the time about a cooling planet, and if we didn't do something about it, and fast, we were all going to find ourselves in another ice age. The capper was a 1978 Leonard Nimoy narrated documentary that eerily spelled it all out. ST writes, Spock was going nuts about global cooling. Cavuto, that alone should have told you the whole thing was bogus. William Shatner saying it, on the other hand, that would have scared me. Kirk, I trust. Spock, not so much. All right, you kind of worry me, but I appreciate your writing. Birdgram writes, Nancy Pelosi gave the Spock hand sign yesterday during her stickering little press conference. Still enjoy that photo of you with your parents. Well, as do I. It's one of my favorite pictures. Porter emails, you were right to be skeptical. That special came right after a string of blizzards, and suddenly the whole world was turning into a big skating rink. Good for you and your parents, blissfully smiling through it all. Text emails, that was brilliant. Exposing environmentalists for the inconsistent, all over the map freaks they are was absolutely brilliant. Using that high school graduation photo to seal the deal, not so brilliant. But you seem like a nice enough kid. Well, thank you, Tex, kind of. And Yanni via Yahoo. I like that, Yanni via Yahoo. You think your parents had any idea that you'd grow up to become the right-wing, clueless shill for destroying the earth you are today? No, Yanni, you think your parents regret naming you Yanni or having you at all? Nancy in Norwalk, Connecticut. What a really make you want to smile picture. Your parents are beautiful and you smack dab in the middle of genuine joy. Barbara in Boston. Well, that was very witty, using your high school graduation to show your detachment from all the fear-mongers out there at the time. Absolutely hysterical. Touche, Mr. Cavuto. Touche. And Doogie writes, well, that was remarkable. I had heard something about how environmentalists had warned the earth was cooling only a few decades ago, but I never saw someone put all the actual headlines and stories and documentaries together to prove it. Good for you. That'll teach him trying to fool the Lego head. You had to end it with the Lego head. Really? David in Pittsburgh. Neal, the Time magazine trifecta, pretty funny. You should put out a book, Global Warming for Dummies. Oh, wait, all of it is for dummies. Gene in Mansfield, Texas. Neal, great job working your graduation picture into the presentation 30-something years ago. For over a decade, it's a record. Alan writes, when you said 30-something years and you weren't going to share the exact figure, I said to my wife, does it really matter? The guy's old. Nice, but old. And in Oregon, I wait daily for your show to come on. I appreciate knowing what really is happening in the world. You also interject humor into the depressing news, and that helps take the heavy edge off our worries. Well, anything I can do, Ann, anything I can do. Pam in Dallas. Neal, I know you take a lot of drugs. Are you on them when you write these wacky segments? Well, yes, I am, Pam. Zan emails, Neal, I think you're nuts. Zan, I think you're rude. Father Tim in Buffalo, New York, writes the following. I think I know this guy. At the time of that high school graduation picture, I believe you were on your way to be a priest. What happened, my friend? Well, Father God called me in the middle of the night, told me to save capitalism. It's that simple. I heeded his call. The rest is history. Have a safe weekend.
Scandal. Like a swarm of locusts descending from the angry heavens, the president has been plagued by scandals his administration just can't seem to shake. From spying to lying, from guns to the IRS and Benghazi. How do these issues rank in terms of their damage to the administration and, worse, to America? Well, we have decided to put together a list of these landmines to see what the president has navigated and which ones will tear apart his legacy and cause the most carnage. He racked them up. We'll count them down. Obama's scandal countdown. Welcome.